Hello, class. For today's lesson, it's about understanding and solving problems involving combined variation. And here are the learning targets. First, I can identify and represent situations that involve combined variations by determining the constant of variation and formulating the corresponding equations or tables. Two, I can solve and interpret real-life problems that involve combined variation accurately and explain the relationships among the variables. To start, let us define combined variation. So combined variation is a relationship that involves both direct and inverse variation at the same time. It means that a variable varies directly as one quantity and inversely as another. And here is the general formula. Now here, you can see that there are two. So here we have y equals kx over z. At the same time, you have y equals kz over x. I wrote the two since you might be confused on what you see online, but regardless, here's how we read them. For this one here, on the left side, we read this as y varies directly as x, because x here is on the numerator and inversely as z. And on the other side here, we have y varies directly as z and inversely as x. And just like with the other types of variations, combined variation also deals with real-life concepts, and here are some of those. First, we have physics. So for physics, the force F needed to move an object varies directly as its mass and inversely as resistance. Next is chemistry. The pressure of a gas varies directly as its temperature and inversely as its volume. And the last one, for example, we have for economics, the profit earned varies directly as the number of products sold and inversely as a cost per product. Now let's start solving, starting with this one. Now y varies directly as x and inversely as z. If y is 6, when x is 3, and z is equal to 2, find a constant k. So let's write this based on the given here. So we have y equals k, and it says here directly as x, so that means we use x as our numerator, and over inversely as z. Sorry, inversely as z. So after this one, all we need to do in solving or finding for the constant, all we need to do is to substitute the values. So for y, we have here 6 equals k, the missing, and for x is 3 over z is 2. So based on this one, first all we need to do is to cross multiply 6 and 2. So we have 6 times 2, and you can have k times 3 here. Just don't touch or operate this one. Anyway, we have here 6 times 2 is 12 equals k times 3 or 3k, it's just the same. And then divide both sides by 3. So based on this, we could cancel 3, and then we are left with k, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. So the value of our constant here is 4. Next, we have y varies directly as x and inversely as z. Now, if y is 12 when x is 6 and z is 3, find k. then use it to find y when x is equal to 9 and z is 4. So this time we have two problems to solve. First is to find k, next is to find y. Now here we are already given with the equation, so it's easy for us to substitute the values right away. So for this one, we have y is 12 is equal to k times, what's the value of x? 6 over z is 3. Now, just like what we had earlier, so here we have, we multiply 6, we cross multiply 6 and 2. So you may have that and then divide it by 3. However, for this one, since you can see that 6 here, 6 can be divided by 3, so you could just do it right away. So it's not really necessary for you to cross multiply 12 and 3. It depends on which one is easy for you. But let's just try to solve for the value of k using different methods. First, let's stick to cross multiplication. So we have here 12 times 3 is equal to k times 6 is 6k. Now here, 12 times 3 is 36 equals 6k. And dividing both sides by 6. So we cancel 6. And we are left with k. And 36 divided by 6 is 6. Now, just like what I said earlier, you could just operate this one right away. So we could have 12 is equal to, wait, let me just have a line here. Okay. Just have a line. Now, going back. So 12 is equal to k, then 6 and 3. Now 6 divided by 3 is 2, so we could have k times 2 or 2k. Then of course divide both sides by 2. So we cancel. And then the value of k is 12 divided by 2 is 6. They're just the same. So either of the two approaches that you're going to use is okay. It's up to you. Now, since we know that the value of the constant is 6, let's try to find y based on the second part of the problem when x is 9 and z is 4. So I'll just write the given. We have here k is 6, x is 9, z is 4, and y is missing. So y here is equal to k is 6 times x, which is 9, divided by 4. So we have 6 times 9 is 54, and divided by 4. So 54 divided by 4 is 13.5. And this is our final answer. First is we have the value of k, and next is the value of the new y based on the second part of the problem. Next example, we have here y varies directly as x and inversely as z. Now if y is 18 when x is 6 and z is 2, find z when y is 12 and x is 4. So let's write the equation first. So y is equal to, varies directly as x, so kx over z. Let's substitute the values. So the value of y is 18. Kx is 6. And then z is 2. So just like before, we could just divide 6 and 2 right away. So let's write 18 is equal to k, 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now divide both sides by 3. You could cancel. And we are left with k, and 18 divided by 3 is 6. And this is our k, our constant. Now, since we are given with this, we can now proceed to solving for finding z on the second part of our problem. K is 6. Z is missing. Y is 12. And X is 4. So based on the equation, we get to have 12 equals 6 times 4 over z. Now here we have 12 equals, and then 6 times 4 is 24 over z. So based on this, if you could still remember the inverse relation, you could just switch 12 and z. So you could have z equals 24 over 12. Now 24 divided by 12, sorry, 24 divided by 12 is 2, and here's our answer. But if you want to have some clarification on why we could just switch 12 and z right away, it's just like this. So let's just have this part. So 12 equals 24 over z. Remember to cross multiply. So we have here 12z is equal, let's have this one, not to confuse, 2 and z equals 24. So obviously, if we divide both sides by 12, and we get to cancel 12 and 12 here, we are left with z is equal to 24 over 12, which is the same with this one. So that's why you could just switch. But anyway, in case you forget to switch the shortcut method, you could just do the regular thing of having this part. Yeah. Now, y varies directly as x and inversely as z. So y equals kx over z. Now, if y is 12, when x is 8, so over z, which is 4. So based on this one, you could just divide 8 and 4 right away. So k and 8 divided by 4 is 2. So divide both sides by 2, and we get to cancel, and we are left with k is 6. This is our constant. Now let's continue. Now find the value of x when y is 9 and z is 6. So we have here the value of y is 9, and the value of k, which is 6, and we're looking for x. Then over, where am I? This value of z is 6. So based on this, you could just divide 6 and 6, so you could just cancel. So that means the value of x is 9. And just for checking, so if we have here the value of y is 9, so based on this, and let's try to, what do you call this, check. So we try to substitute. So we have here the value of constant, which is 6 times 9 over 6. So recall this, 6 times 9 is 54, and 54 divided by 6 is 9. So they're just the same. Now for our next problem, this is now involving powers. So we have here square. So let's read this first. Y varies directly as the square of x and inversely as z. So here, y varies directly as the square of x, so x squared, and inversely as z. So be cautious in reading the given statement before you write the equation, because you might overlook something. So the value of y here is 20. We don't have an x yet, and then a k yet. So but we have an x, which is 2, and then don't forget the squared over z, which is 4. Now, we have here 20 equals k, 2 squared is 4 over 4. And based on this, you could just directly cancel. So that means the value of k is 20. Now, let's proceed to the second part of the problem, which is this one. So we're going to try to find y based on the given. So we have here y is equal to 20, which is the value of k, times 3, which is the value of x. But again, don't forget the squared, over 6. Now, first we have 3 squared, which is 9. So 20 times 9 over 6. Now 20 times 9 is 180. So 180 over 6. And then 180 divided by 6 is 30. And this is your answer. Another problem here, we have y varies directly as the square of x. So y is equal to square of x, so x squared. And then over, inversely, as the cube of z, so z cubed. Now, the value of y is 40 is equal to k. The value of x is 4, so 4 squared over z, which is 2, so 2 cubed. Now we have here 40 equals k, 4 squared is 16, and 2 cubed is 8. So obviously we could just divide 16 with 8 right away. So we have 40 equals k, and 16 divided by 8 is 2. So we could just divide both sides by 2. And then cancel. So we are left with 40 divided by 2, which is 20, equals k, and this is our constant. Next, we have here constant, which is 20. X here is missing, y is 135, and z is 3. Based on these given, we could write 135 is equal to 20 times x is missing. And again, don't forget the square because it is the given. Where am I? Z is 3. 3 cube. Don't forget cube as well. Now we have here 135 is equal to 20 x squared over 3 cube is 27. So based on this one, there's no common thing for 20 and 27 aside from 1. So you could just cross multiply this one. So we have 135 times 27 equals 20 x squared. So 135, I'm gonna use my calculator. So 135 times 27 is 3645 is equal to 20x squared. Based on this, same with extracting square roots. If the value of the coefficient of x is not 1, we need to divide both sides by its value. So based on this, let's divide both sides by 20. So we get to cancel. So we are left with x squared. Now, 3645 divided by 20 is 182.25. By the way, let me verify again. 135 times 27, yeah, 3645. Okay, based on this, since this is a perfect square, so of course we need to have the square root to cancel out square. So based on this, we get to have x, and since we are dealing with a perfect square, our answers should be 2, so a positive and negative. Now you have here the square root of 182.25 is 13 13.5. And here are our answers. Positive and negative 13.5. Now let's have our last example before we go over to word problems. Now, y varies directly as the cube of x. So y equals k x cubed, and inversely as the square of z over z squared. Now if y is 108 equals k, 6, x is 6, so, or sorry, 6 cubed over z is 3, so 3 squared. Yeah, that's it. Now this time we have 108 is equal to k. 6 cube is 216. Wait, 6 times 6 times 6. Yeah, times 16. And 3 squared is 9. So let's try to divide 216 first over 9. So we get 24. So 108 is equal to k 24. And we can divide 24 to both sides. And cancel. So the value of k is 108 divided by 24 is 4.5. So here's the value of our constant. Going back. K is 4.5. And in the second part of the problem, we're looking for z. So we have z is missing, y is 256, and x is 8. Now based on this, let's have here 256 is equal to 4.5 times x is 8, then cube. Don't forget this cube based on our equation. Over, where am I? Z, we're looking for z. So z squared. So based on this one, we could cross multiply or switch. So we can have z squared is equal to 4.5 times 8 cube over 256. So using our calculator right away and solving this part, so let me just have typed here. 4.5 times 8 cube divided by 256, and the answer is 9. So base here, we could do the square root, so operation, so cancel square root and the square, and we have here z is equal to the positive and negative 3. Now let's have some word problems involving combined variation. Now first, the force F required to move an object varies directly as its mass x and inversely as the resistance z. So F is equal to k x over z. Now F is 24 is equal to k and 6, z is 3. So again, you could just simplify or operate this part. Now 24 is equal to k and 6 divided by 3 is 2, and divide both sides by 2. So cancel. So k is 12. Next, here on the second part of the problem, so find the force. Okay, so k is 12. Yeah, k is 12. Y f is missing, x is 8, and z is 4. So based on this, we have f is equal to 12 times 8 over 4. Now, he could just operate this one, 8 divided by 4, or either way you could have 12 divided by 4. Anyway, your choice, but let's have 8 divided by 4, which is 2. So 12, 8 divided by 4 is 2. Anyway, you have your calculator with you, so you could just have this right away. So which is equal to 24. And since we're talking about force, then the answer should be in newtons. So F is equal to 24 N. And this is the answer. Now we have the pressure P of a gas varies directly as its temperature X and inversely as its volume. So let's write this down first. We have P is equal to K X over Z. Now the value of if P is 50 and X is 200 over 80. Okay, let's have this one first. Let's find the value of the constant. Now, 80 times 50. So let's have this cross multiplied. So 80 times 50 equals K 200. 80 times 50 is 4,000 is equal to K 200. So let's divide both sides by 200. So let's cancel this one. And then 4,000 divided by 200 is 20. So this is the value of our constant. Now let's try to find the pressure on the second part of the problem. So let's write K first. K is 20. P is missing. X is 250. And Z is 100. Based on this, we could have P is equal to 20 times 250 over 100. You may have your calculator, so you could just input these numbers directly. So 20 times 250 divided by 100. So the answer is 50. But since we don't have a specific term or unit for the pressure, so we could just have this P is equal to 50 units. So this would be our answer. Now for the last problem, the profit Y earned by a business varies directly as the number of products sold and inversely as the cost per product. Now if the profit is 4,800, so you have here 4,800, you see when 240 items are sold, okay, so K 240 over are sold at 10 pesos each, so we have 10. So based on this one, we could just divide this part right away. Now let's write 4,800 equals K 240 divided by 10 is 24, and let's divide both sides by 24. You could cancel. So we are left with K, and 4,800 divided by 24 is 200. So this is our constant. Now let's have the second part of the problem. So again, K is 200. Find the profit, so Y is missing. X is 300 and Z is 12 pesos. Now here we have Y equals 200 times 300 over 12. So using your calculator, you could just compute it right away. So 200 times 300 divided by 12 is 5,000. So to answer this, since we're talking about pesos or the profit, so we should add a peso sign. And this is our answer. So that's it for today. I hope you learned something. Keep safe.